What is up? I'm Jared Walsh. He's Aaron Halterman. This is a Blinkers Off. What's up, my friend?
What's going on, man? It's another week, man. We did really well last week on the show. Got a lot to live up to. I hope you're ready. Oh, you're ready. Look at that.
I'm ready. I just cracked open another. I did have White Claw. Now it's I had Pineapple Trulies left. So you'll know. Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, the what is that? The what are you drinking there?
Black cherry White Claw.
Yeah, that's what I had just a second ago. But yeah, so I'm ready. Last weekend. How about that? It was a good weekend. The pod did very well. We had a bunch of preps. We have more preps this weekend. So, you know what? I guess let's first kick things off with let's just get it out of the way. All right, because I don't want to talk about it anymore. It's not going to be the best thing I saw. The Super Bowl was a disaster. Okay, you don't. Everyone that hates me talking about the Chiefs. Well, congratulations. We're done talking about the Chiefs. I don't know. I mean, I think everyone's a little surprised by what happened. I've been telling everybody, it's not like I thought they would win, but if they were to lose, it wouldn't have been absolutely shocking. But it's the fact that how they lost and they didn't score a single touchdown. It's almost like when you pick a horse and the horse is 3-5 or something and it just runs dead last, and you're just like, that is so bad. Like, it's so bad, I don't even believe that it was that bad. You know what I mean? And that's how the Super Bowl was the whole time. Obviously, the worst defeat in Mahomes' very young career. He hasn't been beat like that, plain and simple, in a very, very long time. So it was rough. Congrats, to Tampa Bay and the GOAT, Tom Brady. I mean, unbelievable. 7 rings now. I mean, he's got so many damn Super Bowls. He's literally throwing the Lombardi trophy over, from boat to boat on the parade. Like that, he doesn't care. It's like, yeah, whatever. It's another one. But it was rough to watch. But I think we'll be back.
You hate to see it. You really do. Yeah. Y'all didn't prepare for the game other than Mahomes. I think Mahomes is ready. But y'all didn't. Other ones didn't prepare. Receivers couldn't catch balls. Receivers couldn't get open. Offensive linemen couldn't block. Defense acted like they didn't have any idea how to play against Tampa Bay. It was a shit show for the Chiefs other than number 15. A lot of people, and of course, what I've been telling you and what I always say, wins and losses, that's not a quarterback stat. That's not a quarterback stat. There's so many other things involved in a football game. Honestly, I kind of felt like I walked away from the Super Bowl kind of like I walked away from Zenyatta when she lost the Breeders' Cup. And I thought, yeah, she lost, but she really proved a lot. I thought Mahomes was fucking outstanding in that game. Because it was 1-on-11. He didn't have any help. He would dodge 6 guys, run backwards 30 yards, dodge another 3 guys, jump in the air, be lateral, throw it 50 yards, hit a guy right in the hands, and he would drop it.
Yeah, or in the face mask and he'd drop it.
And then it just shows you how stupid like ESPN is now with their shock, the shock jocks. They're like, oh, Mahomes got beat by Brady. It's like, did you watch the game? Like, Mahomes had no chance in that game. Their team, they sucked, Jared. I'm sorry.
No, you don't have to be appalled. I mean, I agree. I just saw your name, by the way, Picky Rasterneck. That's great.
Yeah. Hey, I'm Picky Rasterneck. Good morning, everybody. I cannot.
I don't know.
It's like, did they practice? I don't know.
It was, I mean, literally was horizontal to the ground.
Yeah.
And throws a strike that would have been a touchdown.
Boink.
Boink. I mean, I don't know if you've watched. I haven't watched all of it, but I've watched some of the, the Super Bowl NFL films, like the mic'd up stuff, and even like the offensive, like Godwin and Evans and those guys on the sidelines for the Bucs were like, holy shit! Like, even though they weren't completing the pass, it was just like Mahomes is unbelievable. Like, I don't know how he's doing these things. I mean, he would, like you said, he would hike it. He would double back this way, and then he'd double back this way, and then he'd run this way, and he'd try to juke a defender. By the way, he just had surgery on his foot, so he had a bad foot. He was literally trying to do anything he could to salvage that game. And then when he would throw a strike that is maybe the best incompletion in Super Bowl history, and they wouldn't catch it, you just kind of like, what am I supposed to do? So, Brady got in the heads of the defense, which I thought was completely disappointing. And it's like, really? Like
equally as hilarious.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you got the honey badger. The honey badger is supposed to be this badass, and like this 43-year-old white dude is like messing with you. I mean, it was freaking hilarious to watch that. I'm sorry, Jared.
They just got outplayed on every. It was a perfect storm in every regard of the game. And I'm not. The officiating was awful. I'm not going to say we lost because of officiating, because we didn't, but it didn't help. And it was just one thing after another, and it was weird. It was definitely weird because as Chiefs fans, we're just used to Mahomes kind of making that comeback. You're just going to you're waiting, and even at halftime, you're like, well, we can still win this game.
Oh, yeah, I thought they were going to win. Yeah.
And just you kind of got the vibe that, hey man, this isn't going to happen. Like, I don't know, it was rough, but there's favorites to win again next year, and hopefully they can do something to win with that offensive line. And as long as Mahomes is quarterback, I mean, shit. They're going to be every year at least have a shot. So
it's kind of a cliche, Jared, but I think not Mahomes again. He's excluded because I thought he played great. I think they kind of started to get the big head, and I hate that like phrase because it's just kind of like lame, and it kind of feels like an old take. It's like, oh, they got the big head. It's like something your grandpa would say. But in this case, it's like I kind of feel like the Chiefs may have went into this game thinking we're just going to kick their ass, and they didn't really prepare. That's really what it looked like to me, especially on defense, because it's like they made Tampa look ridiculous in the regular season. And their MO was like get pressure on the quarterback, sack the quarterback. It's just like they weren't ready to play,
Okay. Okay. Well, Reese Bobby, I know what I need to do, and I'm working on it. Okay, so don't worry about it. You're my first go-to whenever that happens. Okay.
Please have this back for another minute.
All right. That's enough Chiefs talk. Halterman, what's the best thing you saw today?
All right. I'm going to nerd out here, Reese Bobby. I apologize in advance. So, okay. My wife and I have watched the show Supernatural off and on again for like 15 years, right? So we heard that it had ended, and we had stopped after 13 seasons. There was 15 seasons. So we heard that it ended, and it was all on Netflix, and we're like, okay, let's start from the very first episode. And there's like 23 episodes in a season. So that's a ton. That's like over almost 350 episodes. We started from the very first one, went all the way through. We finally finished it. I think we started this like close to the start of the pandemic. We finally finished it. The last episode of Supernatural is the best last episode I've ever seen for a series ending. It was freaking fantastic. Man, I was like, I don't get emotional with shows ever. I was at the end of Supernatural. Incredible ending. Anybody that's watched that show knows what I'm talking about. Anybody that hasn't, I strongly recommend it. It's a great show. So the ending of Supernatural, we finally got to it, and we both, like, we turned it off, and we were like, damn, that's how you finish.
You're like, hey, just leave me alone for a second, okay?
I said, listen, I gotta go in the bathroom.
I know you've liked that show. I've never seen an episode of that. So, I've seen it on at your house, like when I'm over, but I don't have any idea what it entails. So, in general, so
to be completely fair, about 12 seasons, that was its sweet spot. The last couple of seasons, it wasn't great until you get to the last, and then it's kind of like The Office. After 7 seasons, that was kind of it, and then they did 2 more, but that last episode gets you. That's what Supernatural was.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good, if it's like that, because that I'm with you. Like, it started to fade The Office, and then the last episode gets me every time.
Yeah.
Dang. Oh, I love this show. All right, best thing I saw. Let's see. Magic says I haven't watched any of it, but Supernatural's panel of Comic-Con were always great. So there you go.
Gosh, were the 2 guys there, Magic? Like the 2 guys that were the stars? Oh my gosh. He's in the background shaking his head. I love those 2 guys. Wow.
I think Magic, you could get a friend and Halterman to go with you now. I think you guys could dress up the whole 9 yards. I think that would be great. All Best thing I saw has to be in a little bit of a humble brag here. It's not humble about it. Last weekend, I played in the NHC qualifier, and if you guys remember, I had 2 spots that I'd qualified for the big feature on Saturday that was stretched out around 3 different tracks, 12 different races, and 400 entries and top 4 seats. It was every 100 got a spot in the NHC in Vegas, and gosh, it was brutal. I mean, it was unbelievably fun. I'm not like anyone that hasn't played tournaments. Like the qualifying ones are fun, but when you get to a feature, dude, there's nothing better than the features. Like they're a blast because you're just taking shots. And I got to the last. I needed to win the last 2 races to get in. Mm-hmm. In my horse in the second to last, which is the second to last race of Santa Anita on Saturday, I had the 12 wins, like 8-1. Got bet down to 8-1. It was a bigger price, and I'm like, holy shit, So I think I'm sitting like 10th place or so, but I have the 9 the last race. And if the 9 was 30-1 morning line, got bet down to like, I think it went off like 12 or 13-1, but at the time it was like 8-1, 10-1, somewhere in there. If the 9 wins, I'm going to Vegas. If the 9 win, and I'm like telling, of course you're watching and friends, I'm like, we gotta bring this 9 home. The fact that it was bet down, you're like, okay, the people like this horse, and oh man, this right out of the gate. I mean, Bays just gives this one of a hell of a ride. And it's like you instantly know after all this day of getting these long shots home and just having a great day, and you're just like, oh. I mean, the horse had a ton of run and ran and ran huge to get 4. I think it was like 5th. Just you never know. But judging by the way the horse ran, the horse would have been there at the end at least to give it, get you excited. But it was fun. I ended up 14th place. Top 4 qualified. So I'm like, be back to try again. But gosh, I just can't say enough about how fun it was to when to have when that 12, I was at home alone watching when that 12 won. I think my neighbors thought something was wrong at my house. I was yelling so loud and running around the house because it almost had the feeling like everyone knows this. Like when you have a day when your horses are just running, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like it's like almost like you almost have a cheat code. It's like every horse you pick, even if they didn't win, they were at least giving me a run. Mm-hmm. And so you're just like, holy, this is going to happen. Like, this is going to happen. Like, I need this last double, and to get that. And it was just like, oh, but it was fun. So you and I will be back in one tomorrow on Friday. Tomorrow we'll be playing in one. And so they're just fun they're just a lot of, it challenges you in different ways when it comes to handicapping, because you almost look at a race and be like, well, I'm going to toss out half the horses because a 4-1 doesn't help me anything here.
Yeah, a totally different way to play. You don't need to handicap the same way when you're playing those tournaments as you do if you're trying to cash tickets. I will definitely say that. But yeah, it was painful for me, Jared, because as you know, it was my wife's birthday and I was away and I was in and out of being able to talk to you or watch the races. And after, I think there was 3 races left, and I kind of looked at who you had left, and I'm like, okay, let's leave the room. I was kind of making up stories like, oh, hold on, I got to update this track, but I was really just watching your progress. I said after when there was 3 races left, I said, oh, let's just go. Yeah, I'm good. I got everything updated, and we were on the Branson Landing, so you're shopping, eating, all that bullshit, But anyway, I was in a store when the 12 won. And I thought, oh, God, I'm going to have to act like I need to go to the bathroom with this last race because I have to watch it. You know what I mean? But I don't really want to be like I'm watching racing while I'm supposed to be doing something else. It was a real struggle for me to figure out what to do there. But yeah, the 9, the comment line should be checked again, checked one more time, checked 3 more times, and then finally got running. That was 9 in the last race, but. Yeah, get you a little taste, man. I mean, you could have been there. So tomorrow we got another one. So yep, we'll give it another shot.
Yeah, dude, it was brutal because Samich and I were in it that day playing, and his picks. I mean, he did pretty well. He had the 12 in the second to last race, but he was a little too far back at that point. So I was kind of the last one in the running, and he had gone to dinner with his family. You were, like you say, kind of MIA back and forth. And I'm like, damn it, somebody, like, I need to, like, talk to somebody right now because no one was helping. I was like, I'm freaking out right now. I'm like, I don't, you're in that situation. Like, I don't really want to brag. Like, because I don't want to jinx anything, but it's like, hey, by the way, like, I might qualify here. Like, like, somebody root this horse on, please.
I felt horrible. Like, you called it, I'm like, oh no. It's like, I can't answer this because she's going to know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? So it's like, but I need to, but it killed me. Yeah. Anyway.
Does Heather know what you do for a living? Could she at least you could at least made up excuse like, hey, this is for work.
I said we did watch the last race together because I said he's going to qualify. So we did watch that one together. But I was supposed to be like, like we were at dinner and it's like, yeah, you don't need your phone out right now. It was bad, but
I think we've all been there.
Yeah. If it wasn't her birthday, I would have been like, forget it. Their birthday's only once a year, Jared. So
yeah, that's true. I guess. All right. So yeah, that was fun, and hopefully, I have no doubt that between you and I, we'll get a spot in there. Just it just takes one day, and it takes one non-Tyler Bays ride is really what it takes. So that's really all it takes. So anyways, all right, let's get to it because we have a big show to talk about. 2 Derby preps. On today's show, we're going to preview the $400,000 Risen Star Stakes at Fairgrounds and the $100,000 El Camino Real Derby at Gold Gate. Each are Kentucky Derby preps, the Risen Star being the first of the championship series. So basically, we're in the win you're in segment of the Derby preps, starting with the Risen Star. We're also going to get some rapid fire selections for the remaining stakes action this weekend at Fairgrounds and Gulfstream Park. Let's go.
There you go. Listen, man, I got a text. Saying you changed because on the Rocket Hour, I wore the Mighty Ducks jersey. I thought I would dress up. Dr. Miranda was on. I thought I'll dress up. I'll wear the Ducks jersey for her. But I changed to the OU. And listen, shout out Lindsay Halterman. She's watching in Cassville, Missouri right now. She's a huge softball fan. OU softball hit 13 home runs in one game. It's an NCAA record.
Jeez, dude.
13 home runs in a game. She texted me and she said it's like the second inning and they've got 9. And I'm like, oh my God. 13 in a game.
So, I mean, I know nothing about women's softball. Shocking. Is OU like the best? Are they the number one or?
I don't know if they're number one this year, but year in and year out, they're like the best program.
I know they're pretty good because I know she's always really into OU softball. But
sure, yeah. She was super. She was like, "You got Sooner Sports TV, right?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "OU softball's on." I admit I turned it on. I'm not a huge softball fan either, but
I do. If Lindsay is watching, which I hope she is, I have one message. I hope OU softball loses out. I hope they never win again. I hope they never win a national championship. I hope they suck because I know you don't like Mahomes and the Chiefs. And so having heard that you say these bad words, I could care less. I hope you don't deserve OU to win anything. I'm sorry, Lindsay, but I don't care.
How do you know she hates the Chiefs?
You told me she roots against Mahomes.
That's true.
So I'm done with her. I'm sorry.
Mark says solid pitching. They were playing UTEP. I don't know anything about softball either, Jared, but I know UTEP. Well, OU schedules UTEP in football all the time, and it's always 60-0. So I'm guessing the softball is the same way.
All right, let's get to some.
All right, let's do it.
Let's get to some actual horse racing. What do you say? No, there you go. It's good. Okay, so full disclaimer, this is going to be a weird day because the weather, there's just horses cross-centered all over the country, and there's the weather and at Fairgrounds is supposed to be a nightmare on really the next couple of days, especially on Saturday. Is Jared working overtime this weekend? Well, I will be on Tinder, but I do have my boys. So
what do you think Tinder's like on Valentine's Day?
Well, not to say Tinder's pretty automatic anytime, but I mean a Valentine's Day you can thirsty AF. That's 1,000%. That's what I was getting at. That's almost like you just send one word to the Tinder thing and they're like, let's go. It's on. That's all you gotta do. meet up in 2 hours or whatever and game on. Like, I feel like, trust me, it wouldn't be hard. It's not hard, but on Valentine's Day, I've never had it. I wasn't on Tinder Valentine's Day last year, so it's like a cheat code, I think. So,
oh, there's a lot to unpack with that statement. We should probably get on to the Risen Star.
Depends. What do you guys want to talk about? Tinder or the Risen Star? Because I've got
Tinder, but people watching.
I've got hot takes in both of them. So.
Oh man!
Oh geez! All right,
let's go.
Let's go. Oh shit! Yeah, I will be saving some money for sure. That's true. All you suckers have to spend your money this weekend. Not this guy, just the Tinder membership, which I won on Blinkers Off.
Oh, look at this, Jaron! You getting some trash talk.
Hey. Boomer sooner. That's cute. Okay. Go back to watching your OU girls play UTEP. She knows I love her.
We have a softball fight on Bleacher.
Yeah. We should have her on. We should have her on right now. Bring her on. Let's talk a little UTEP OU.
We're not going to be able to do the show tonight now.
Everyone's super intrigued by my Tinder escapades. Oh, well, that's a little different. The great thing about the Apple keyboards is they're very easy to clean. So just kidding. Maybe.
I just love that UTEP softball is being.
Let's get UTEP softball trending. Can we do that, please? All right.
All right.
Let's get serious here. All right. Oh gosh, geez, I didn't think we'd ever get to UTEP on this conversation. 3, 2, 1. All right, we got 2 Derby preps to talk about on Saturday, but we'll kick things off with the first championship series, Kentucky Derby prep. That's a 50-point race, 50, 20, 10, 5 for your top 4 finishers, and that is race 13 at Fairgrounds on Saturday, the Risen Star Stakes for 3-year-olds going to 1 1/8 miles. And again, 50 points to the winner. So you win here, whether you've won a prep, one of the Lecomte say, because we have the top 4 finishers here in Lecomte, or from the Lecomte, or if you haven't won anything, you win today on Saturday, you're in the Kentucky Derby essentially. So field of 13, although that's going to get scratched down at least to a field of 12, probably more. The weather is supposed to be miserable on Saturday at Fairgrounds, and of course we've already got the Southwest at Oaklawn Park that was supposed to be ran on Monday, being moved to the next weekend because of bad cold weather, icing and things like that in Hot Springs. And here we have rain. So it's going to be a shit show. I mean, we're going to do our best job to kind of handicap these. But again, kind of keep that to account. Like, you just don't know what this weather is going to do and how some of these horses are going to, it's one thing asking these horses to run mile and 8 for the first time in a lot of ways. Maybe they never had dealt with slop, say, if that's what happens. So it'll be interesting way to kind of get our first 50-point race in the books. But Halterman, what you think?
Yeah, so a serious note real quick. We have a lot of fun on the show, but to be serious, if you purchase the guide, I'm sure these races are going to come off the turf and be sloppy. We will update it. So just to get that out of the way, it will be updated as soon as we know the scratches and the track conditions. Okay, let's get to the Risen Star. We're going to assume at least muddy at best, right? But probably sloppy. Honestly, it didn't really change my opinion much because and a lot of people are like, oh, you're biased. Oh, you're crazy. Oh, you're stupid. That's fine. I really love number 5, Senor Buscador. I just freaking love this horse. I love everything about him. I love that he comes from last leg Zenyatta. I think that's fantastic. I love the breeder / owners. I love the fact that this horse won the Remington Park Springboard Mile. Listen, I get it. The Springboard Mile did not have a lot of really good horses in the race. This horse passed those horses like they were all tied to a pole. It was very, very impressive. I thought Senor Buscador was just amazing in that race. Much better than I thought he would be. I picked him to win the race. He ran even better than I thought he would run. So I really like him back here. I'm very excited. There's two very big, well, I would say three actually, big keys. A lot of pace in the race. That's good for him. A mile and an eighth. I think that's good for him. A really long stretch. I think that's good for him. So there's three really good things to look at with Senor Buscador. He's my guy. Well, I'm going to stick with him here. There's no question about it. So that's who I put on top, Jared. You knew that. I mean, you knew I had to go there. I am beyond excited to watch this horse.
Oh man, I'm trying to decide how I want to approach this with you. I don't necessarily, because here's the thing: if I can lock in 6-1 on him in this race, I will do that. He won't be 6-1. The odds are going to be all over the place in this race. It's going to be very similar to the Sam F. Davis, where the odds were all over the place. And of course, the favorite of the race, keep me in mind, isn't going to run here. It's going to run in Southwest next weekend. So that's the morning line favorite at 3-1. So the odds are going to be all over the place. I'm going to guess that, Midnight Bourbon might go off the favorite. Senor Buscador would probably be close second choice, I would think, just off of the hype alone. No way you get 6-1. So I'm kind of in a situation that I'd like, if I can get 6-1, sure, but at a low price. Listen, I don't buy that he can close like that, keep closing like that in these races. I agree that the mile and eighth, he should eat that up. I the longer the better. He's sired by Mine Shaft, and it's like he should keep going. And obviously, I think he's bred. If it's sloppy, he should be great there too. Like, he's really well-bred horse. I just don't know, how long can you keep kind of walking out of the gate and expecting to close? Now, this is obviously his toughest, task so far. He's ran 2 times and he's passed both tests very well. He ran a great. His numbers out of that springboard were incredible. They really were for a second start. That was really, really good. I don't know. I'm going to try to beat him. It's all, this is, I was talking to Magic about this earlier. It's like, this race is it's very dependent upon the odds to me. I like a lot of horses in here, and it's kind of, I'm swaying back and forth on them. It's like, well, if Midnight Bourbon's 6-1, sign me up. If Senor Buscador is 6-1, sign me up. But if these horses are 5-2 and 3-1, or maybe 2-1 and 5-2 or something, I don't know if I can pull the trigger on them, especially when I like horses like number 2 Proxy at 8-1. I think you can give another pass to Santa Cruiser at 15-1, which is a huge price. Mandolin, a horse that was the favorite of the LeCompte, putting blinkers on, has been unbelievable working since putting blinkers on. It's Brad Cox, Flo, back on board here. So, I think you give another pass on that horse. Number 1, who was just claimed in the fantasy league by the Magic Mike team. Starred in My Dreams, I guess is how you say it. Listen, how many times have you seen a Dallas Stewart horse undefeated in his first 2 starts? And both races looked incredible. It's kind of rare, right? You don't see that very often. This is obviously a pretty good horse. The pace setup, if it is sloppy, the 1 should probably like that. So that's an interesting one. So I guess the point of what I'm saying is I feel like you can kind of go all over the place, especially based off what the track might be playing like.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. This is definitely a race that's pretty wide open, and I agree with this comment by Mark. It's good to see Quinonez, and a trainer sticking with Quinonez, and he rode Sudden Breaking News. Yes, we pet Sudden Breaking News at Oaklawn that year, if you remember, Jared. And almost, he almost hit the board in the Derby. He made a big run in the Kentucky Derby. Yeah. I
have one thing. I want to add something to that, because seeing Louis Q in this race brought back memories of Sudden Breaking News, because they have very similar running styles in Senor Buscador and Sudden Breaking News, where they made this huge run, and it just seemed like he was always kind of if they could have gone longer, or if they could have done this and that. And that's I know it's early, but it's like that's kind of what I feel like from Senor Buscador. It's like we all know you can't win. Not 99% of the time, you can't win the Derby the way Senor Buscador runs the race.
Yeah.
Like you need to be forwardly placed, unless your name, unless you're freaking winning the slop with Calvin Burrell, right? It seems. So it's like, could he win here for sure? I just don't know if the value is going to be there. What do you think he's going to go off at?
Well, I think he's going to be about 4-1. I think he'll go off really similar to what he did in the Remington Park Springboard Mile. He went off at 7-2, so I think 4-1. If
he's 4-1, that's borderline playable for me.
Don't you think the connections work against him as far as being bet? Like, don't you think when it gets right down to it, the bettors are going to say, I trust Asmussen, I trust, Cox. Yeah, that's why I think you can still get some value here because Louis Q, I mean, you and I know Louis Q. Mark, you know Louis Q, but he's not a guy that he gets aboard and people go, all right, now we're talking. He's kind of the opposite of that, really, even though I love Louis. He's a really nice guy. Todd Fitchner, if the horse is running at Sunland, yeah, people are excited. But at Fairgrounds, it's not going to hold a lot of weight. It's not going to hold a lot of weight nationally. So they're sneaky connections. I like them both, but I don't think they're gonna get bet when it comes to facing Asmussen and Cox. Speaking of Asmussen and Cox, and we'll throw Johnny Velasquez getting aboard Proxy with Stidham. I think the 1, 2, 3 finishers of the LeCompte are the 3 horses to play back here in the Risen Star. I like all 3 of them. I think the Cox horse, number 11, Mandolin, definitely is a horse that they think is better than what he ran in the LeCompte. Cox usually knows how to figure him out with Giroux. I think the 11 is going to run pretty big here. I think Proxy stretching out is interesting to me. I kind of think him all on 8th might hit this horse pretty well. So I like Proxy, and I thought it was really fascinating that Johnny Velasquez gets aboard today. I kind of like Proxy as well. The horse that would be a defensive use for me is the winner of the LeCompte. I don't know if Midnight Bourbon's going to necessarily come back and win like he did last time out. There was a lot of pace in the LeCompte, and somehow Midnight Bourbon got out on the lead. It was all by himself. I don't think that's going to happen again. I think he's got a lot of proving to do. So he's like, I'll play him defensively, but I've got him in like 4th.
Midnight Bourbon was one of the, that performance was almost like using him here, you're like, I need to use him just in case he is like the real deal, because that race was so good where you're like, and then it also helps to like $525,000 purchase. It's Asmussen, it's Winchell. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot, like you could see it like down the road, like, well, that was the day that he emerged, Gunrunner. We saw what Gunrunner did on this path to the Kentucky Derby. So it's like, yeah, you got to use him because that was like he ran a really good race that day, and for whatever reason, like we're all trying to beat him, but I feel like he'd go out there and wire the field again. You're like, son of a bitch! Like I tried to beat him, and he just did the same thing again. So you have to use him, I think, in everything, just because you really don't want to get beat by the LeCompte winner, Steve Asmussen, $500,000 purchase. Dude, I went all over this race. I had Proxy at first because I really think this is going to be a perfect race for him as far as the way the way he's bred. He's Tappet. He's kind of a weird horse, still maturing. From Stidham, some of the quotes I've read from him is kind of like, yeah, he's still got some to learn. You love that Johnny V gets the mount here. Should only help the horse. Like as far as distance, like to me, distance. The slop, it's going to be slow. It's going to be thick. You know what I mean? Like these horses, you're going to want the pedigree in this race. And I feel like that the 2 Proxy is going to hit him perfectly. But listen, Mandolin, I ended up going with Mandolin, and you're getting 9-2. It'll be interesting to see what his odds are. Went off as a favorite all 3 of his career starts. Went off the favorite LeCompte, obviously last time out. Just kind of looked like a winner and then just kind of stopped, and obviously couldn't get to the winner, Midnight Bourbon. But Brad Cox, as soon as the race is over, it's like, I'm going to the blinkers, works the horse with blinkers the last 2 times. It's almost put in basically bullets the last two works, working really good. And the horse like technically improved. Even though he lost, he's gaining in the right direction. Brad Cox is deadly. You want blinkers, throwing blinkers on a horse, and and obviously he has a lot of confidence bringing him back into this race. So if you can get anywhere in that ballpark of 9-2, I mean 5-1, 9-2, 4-1. I mean, I think he might provide some value considering this is a horse that's basically been even money every time he's ran.
Yeah, I definitely don't think he's going to get bet down to that kind of thing. I do think he's going to be the favorite, but I think the favorite in this race is going to go off 5-2, 3-1. And like you said, that is value compared to his other races. The biggest thing, and Kelby, you just said it, and I 100% agree. It's really hard to go against Brad Cox, especially when Flo's aboard. And that's a good thing. When in doubt, or that's a good advice. When in doubt, go bet Brad Cox, especially on a big day. Kelby told me back, it was a few weeks before the Breeders' Cup. He goes, you might as well forget it. Brad Cox and big days, just betting. Don't even look at the form. So, and he
well, that worked out well at the Breeders' Cup.
He absolutely did. He won 4 races at the Breeders' Cup. So, I'm with you. I definitely have Mandolin on everything. But listen, my heart, Jared, is
I know.
Senor Buscador.
It's a big weekend for you because we'll talk about the next prep, which also has the favorite, which I think is going to win for sure. At least I feel confident enough in saying that. So it's a big weekend for your fantasy team. And you've got 3 horses technically running, one on the undercard. So let me ask you, I have a couple questions. One, it's going to be a weird day. The weather, who knows? By this time, obviously, it's the last race of the day. We'll have an idea, but if it's a sloppy track and we get any weird results, give me a horse that just could pull up off enough upset here.
I'm very interested, and I hate to say it because this is a Magic Mike claim. I am very interested in the one starring in my dreams. Won last time out over a sloppy track. That's obviously good. And our buddy Aaron West and you and I were all talking, and it's like, damn, Dallas Stewart wins on debut. You don't see that very often. Dallas Stewart wins again. Don't see that very often. Dallas Stewart wins on the lead. You don't see that very often. So I think starting in my dreams is the wild card here that's got a good shot to win. A lot of positive factors with this horse. Look, we know Dallas Stewart can crash the exactas and the tries in big races. This horse is going to do it. This horse might be actually pretty good though. Dallas gets a lot out of his horses that aren't great. This one might be decent. So I think the one is a very interesting long shot.
Yep, I agree with the one. I almost picked the horse, to be honest with you, just because of the slop. Stretching out from 6.5 furlongs to a mile 16th, and like you say, won all in the lead, then came off of the pace a little bit. I mean, it'd be interesting to see what his morning line is, or what his odds are too. How he's bet. I wouldn't really want to bet him anything less than 12-1. The other, that's one I would use. The other one I would use, like I kind of mentioned a little bit ago, Santa Cruiser. Listen, this is a horse that. Had a lot of hype going into Lecomte. Was 7-1 into Lecomte. Broke his maiden at Churchill Downs. Was basically the favorite 2-1. Went to Lecomte, just got a terrible start, back of the pack. Just literally, you couldn't even see him in the race for most of the race, and then made a big run to get fourth. Well beaten behind those top 3. But listen, give him a better start. Being a sire is dialed in. Probably like the mud a little bit. So you got to think that at least can be better than that. Gets a upgrade in jockey, at least at fairgrounds. So I think at 15-1, probably going to be every bit of that in this race. Give him a shot. I think could obviously has shown more talent than what he showed in Lecomte. Being that he was bet pretty hard that day. So, but yeah, for me, I'm going Mandolin. I'm not like this. This is a big race for him. Obviously, he, like I say, he's been the favorite every race of his career. He was the favorite of Lecomte. A lot of high hopes. He was he was a first round pick in our fantasy league this year. This is the race, right? He's got to show. He's really got to win. If not, a very close second. He's got to run a big race because the hopes are there for him. So I'm on number 11, Mandolin. Who you got?
You know who I got. Number 5, Senor Buscador. I'm freaking excited. I think he's going to run a good race. I'm really excited to see this horse back. And let's hope he does well. If not, I'll just be in big trouble with the fantasy league.
Well, last question. I do this a lot when we talk about Derby preps. Like how many? Because this is amazing. I mean, obviously it's the first 50-point race of the season. First 50 points to the winner. So you win here, and you're in. So how many of this field do you feel like we're going to see in the first Saturday in May?
Oh boy.
Obviously Senior is one that you're high on. So that seems like one that's, you would like. Midnight Bourbon as one Le Comte. There's 2.
Yeah.
Mandolin, there's 3. If I said 2.5, are you over?
I think I'd go under just for the injury factor. I think there's 3 that'll come out of this and be legit, but I would go under 2.5.
Interesting. I think I would too, just because you're not going to want to hear this, but I'll be surprised if Senior Buscador is in the Derby. Sorry. I won't be surprised. I won't be surprised to see Magic. Come on. I won't be surprised to see Midnight Bourbon and Mandolin in there just because of. But I don't know. He's gonna you can say whatever you want to me next week on the show. If Senior Buscador goes and wins just like he's been winning, you can be like, dude, I told you. I'm like, all right, I'll buy it. But for now, I'm if he's 6-1, I'm playing him, but I'm not gonna bet him if he's considered being bet down. So
yeah,
I just can't. I'm gonna take a wait and see. You obviously reached for him. You really wanted him so we'll see if it paid off. You're on number 5, Senior Buscador. I've got the 11 Mandolin.
I have a question from Steve. Says, "Where's Manor House?" I don't know. Have you looked, Steve? Has he had a workout since that terrible performance? I'll look real quick. Let's see, Manor House workout.
Oh, there's a star.
Manor House has not had a workout since that Fairgrounds allowance race, Steve. Not good. Not good.
That's where Manor House is.
He might be. Well, I don't want to say it. He ain't working out, so that's not good. What do you think of the 4 going from Brown to Amos? Yeah, Mark, real quick on this before we move on to El Camino Real Derby.
He's got like 3 in the race, doesn't he, Amos?
He's got 2 in the race, but the defeater is also entered an allowance. I think defeater will go in that. The 4 is weird to me. Now, Jared, did you look at the 4 at all?
Oh, yeah.
Broke your maiden with Brown in January at Aqueduct, and now you show up at the Fairgrounds with Amos. Really weird, Mark. I don't know what to make of the 4. No idea.
Like the numbers, Amos has a really good percentage with trainer. All right, Magic, what you got? Magic says he knows the answer. So what do you have? Yeah, I thought he's an interesting one.
I'm on pins and needles. Look who bred the horse, Magic says.
Pampa?
Paul Pampa. Okay. We're waiting for the explanation. Paul Pampa died. Okay. Everything got sold off. Okay. There you go.
So the owners, and so the new owners just thought, hell with Chad Brown. That the
bum can't train.
Let's go to Amos. Let's go to Amos, who wins all the time.
Right.
All right.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's interesting.
So I guess what you take from that is that there was nothing to do with the horse. It's just a total, just a total kind of weird. Yeah, I mean, he's interesting for sure. Like Amos winning this race at a huge price. Like I feel like that's a storyline you could buy into. So
yeah. Does everybody know that Magic broke a story this week?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Where you go, Magic?
Blood Horse and Horse Racing Nation, I think they credited you. So good job.
Good job, man.
Not everyone did, but some places did.
Not everyone. Yeah, Magic. What is UTEP's? I keep calling them UTEP's softball record. I think it's 0-2.
Is Magic like the Ask Jeeves? Like, hey, Magic, what is UTEP's record? He's like looking it up.
He's like, yeah, hold on.
Please wait.
All right, let's do this shitty race. I mean, this good race.
All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's move to Golden Gate. That's right. One of the few times Golden Gate makes an appearance on the show. Golden Gate Fields for the El Camino Real Derby. That's right. It's a Kentucky Derby prep race, 10, 4, 2, 1 for your top 4 finishers. And listen, this is not as exciting as there is a Star, but it is a Derby prep, so we will talk about it like a Derby prep. And listen, you've got another horse in here, right? I mean, listen, this is not like this is gonna be a big day for your fantasy team. Number 9, Rombier, 8-5 morning line favorite, a horse that comes into the race easily the classiest horse of the race after finishing second in the Grade 1 American Pharoah to get her number, finishing 5th in the Breeders' Cup, the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Juvenile to Essential Quality, Hot Rod Charlie. Keep me in mind, all those good horses, right? Finishes 5th in that race and then shows up here at Golden Gate. Has ran on turf 2 times to start off the career. So you got to think that the switch to synthetic won't be too much of an issue. But, I mean, you're the biased one, right? You picked your horse in the last race. Are you picking your horse here?
Well, the problem is I picked this horse to win the Robert B. Lewis, and then he scratched out of the race. So it's kind of hard for me not to pick him in the El Camino Real Derby, right? I mean, I have to go number 9, Rombauer. Listen, this horse is bred to really handle the synthetic, so that's good. And like you said, he's the class of the field, so that is also good. I had to go with him once again. So I did go back-to-back horses that I drafted. I swear, though, and I think you'll stand up for me in this situation, Jared. I'm really not biased towards my fantasy team. Senor Buscador, I drafted in the first round with like the 4th or 5th overall pick. So obviously I'm going to pick him when he runs. I think he's one of the 4 or 5 best horses in the crop. This horse, I just kind of think he's suited pretty damn well for this race. His breeding says synthetic's going to be good. His breeding says he's going to like 1 1/8, and he's the classiest horse in the race. So I thought I just had to pick him here. This race came up a little tougher than I thought. I'm really intrigued with the 5, Petruccio. If you remember, I picked this horse to win the Los Al Futurity. Not a great pick. Finished 3rd in that race. But I think this is another horse that's going to I should say, the synthetic surface. I think 1 1/8 is going to be okay. So I did like the 5 a little bit as well. I like the 7. The 7's got some synthetic and turf form. So, I mean, I like the 9, but I'm not over the top. I'm going to spread in this race. This is not a single race for me. But I did go with the 9 on top.
Yeah. Listen, I would as far as top contenders, I mean, I feel like, obviously the 5 is the main challenger. The 7 is a filly, which is interesting that they're bringing a filly here, a turf filly that finished 2nd 2 times in a row and 2 stakes races 2 times in a row, Del Mar and Santa Anita, and then shows up here. Hey, does have some synthetic background at Woodbine, finishing 2nd. To Super Sensational, not a bad horse. So it's a Godolphin, Medoro, it's there's some to like there, but it's obviously the Phillies, so it's up against it. I just think the 9 is just stands out from every perspective, numbers, class, time form, whatever you use, the 9 stands out. Now, if you want to be the horse never ran on synthetic, you try to take a shot against, then it just gets weird, you basically just take an angle and hope it comes. This is a funky race, and obviously it's not a very productive race, in history. So I guess you could try to sneak one by with I looked at Play Chicken for a little while just because it's Doug O'Neill and Redham Racing and
Me too. Yep.
And obviously a horse that's ran and went from a maiden on the turf to 3 straight stakes races. Whether they were shitty or not is besides the point. But still, they obviously had some sort of hope, and obviously switching over to synthetics and considering the speed, early on speed, like you could think this horse might have something to say. So if you're really kind of against the 9, to me the 5, like, because you got, like did Spielberg scare you off the 5 at all?
Yes and no. Yes, because he sucks, but no, because this is like a totally different feel. You're getting synthetic, you're going like a mile and an eighth. It's at Golden Gate instead of like, Santa Anita, Losal, Del Mar. So yeah, I maybe that was the determining factor. It's like, well, if you can't even run like close to Spielberg, you probably shouldn't, be in a race like this. But overall, I don't know. The conditions are very different for this race. But yeah, I mean, obviously, you look at the race last time out. And you think if you're very good, you're within more than 3.5 lengths of those two horses. The Great One is a horse that I think O'Neill has figured out, and I think is getting ready to run a freaking huge race next time he's out. But Spielberg is awful, and you got to remember the Great One was a maiden in that Losal race, and not only a maiden that hadn't even been freaking close.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah, I guess long story short, yeah, the 5 not being any better in that Losal race did hurt.
I just think I found myself trying to find angles to beat the 9, and I just can't. So I think, out of the 2, I feel, it's just kind of a different, I feel like a different feeling than what you're looking at, where you really like Senor Buscador. If I'm talking about the 2 races and your 2 horses in particular, I like this one better in this race. Now you're not going to get as many points, right, for this race. Or no, you do in our fantasy league. But as far as the Derby Trail, you're not going to get as many points as the Risen Stars say.
Yeah.
But I don't take anything. I'll put it this way: I think 9 wins. You don't take anything out of this race, like past this race. Like
no,
you just like history shows. There's nothing to get excited about. So.
No.
I like your Rombar, or however you say it. I like the 9 here to win, but if you want to get weird here, I'm not going to say you shouldn't.
I was done, so that's a good way to cut it off.
I was done.
Oh man, I like this comment. Spielberg runs like Jaws. Takes 2 hours before you see him. Good comment, Mark. I like that. That's funny. You're a funny guy.
Another not Magic Mike. Another Evil Stevens team member.
What's that?
Spielberg.
Oh yeah, good. Not a good draft pick, Evil. Evil, when you picked that horse, I thought, yeah, good horse for you. All right, man. I'm ready for this segment.
Honestly, I was, even though like I remember I was logged on and watching just because I couldn't, like I had the boys, and so you were I gave you my list, and I was like, I was fearful that Spielberg, just because he, I've been in that position before where you're later in the first round and it's Baffert, you know what I mean? It's a horse that it's like, I don't want Spielberg at all. So when they took him, I was like, yes.
Yeah.
They took Spielberg, I think, second. They took, was it Classier Spielberg? Is that what it was?
They took Classier Spielberg. Then they took Spielberg. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's what I thought. All right. Let's do some rapid fire. So, we do this a lot where we've gotten to where we have so many races to talk about. And obviously all the content's on the site at racingdudes.com. We thought, well, let's just we'll just do our kind of our 3 kind of top categories here for the races on the weekend. So we are going to do, what order do you want to do? You want to do what how do you want to do? What order do you want to do these? Like last week we did most likely winner, best value, and most excited.
Most likely winner, best value, most excited. That's how I want to do it.
All right.
Can I admit something funny? Or maybe sad?
Well, sure.
Like, did this guy, Mark said, did Amazon stock drop after Bezos' debut last Sunday? Baffert and these horse names. I didn't know what Bezos was, to be completely honest.
You didn't know that? Like
I know who that was.
The owner of Amazon? Come on.
No idea who that was. Nope.
That's why I was like, oh, this horse is going to be great because he's named after like the most, powerful, business owner in the world, Amazon. Like Bezos is going to, and he's going to get, he's going to get behind the horse or whatever. And so, yeah, I just you kind of thought the writing was on the wall already for this horse. So, yeah, I was glad to see. That was amazing. I kind of thought things were lining up on Super Bowl Sunday when Bezos lost. I was like, yes.
Man. I stood up and went, yeah, when he started to fade. I loved it.
It was great. Everyone in the Racing Dude squad was excited about that. So
we threw a little party. There's no doubt about that.
All right. Let's do this. 3, 2, 1. Time for Rapid Fire, presented by the Inside Track to the Risen Star Wagering Guide. That's right. Go on to racingdudes.com on the products page. Get our all-inclusive 10-page wagering guide to the 2021 Risen Star on February 13th, 2021, this Saturday at Fairgrounds. Features in-depth analysis of all 6 stakes on the card, including the $400,000 Risen Star, which we just talked about a little bit ago. Plus, get bonus race-by-race analysis and betting suggestions. You get for the multi-race plays, you name it, for all the Fairgrounds card on Saturday. So not just the stakes races, it's a big card, obviously. So everything you want is included in this wagering guide. And of course, like we mentioned earlier, this is going to be a guide that's going to be very fluid. You're going to want to keep checking back on the website on your dashboard to make sure you get the most updated guide, because obviously, as the week goes on, we're going to have scratches on Saturday. I'm going to guess we're going to have some scratches. Top picks going to be scratched, and some some turf races on the undercard. Though it's going to be kind of, let's be honest, it's going to be rough. So
it's going to be a mess. Yep,
we're going to have to kind of plan this out a little bit, but that is included with with the subscription. So if you go get to racingdudes.com, go to the products page, subscribe to any of our premium products, you get the wagering guides absolutely for free. All right, so. Lots of stakes actions at Fairgrounds, Gulfstream Park. Santini's got some. There's all over the country. Golden Gate, obviously. So we're going to do this in a little bit like we've been doing in the past. We're going to do the 3 categories. Most excited to watch, our long shot, our like most probable winner of the weekend. So let's see. What order do you want to do this in? We're going to do, let's kick it off with your most likely winner, your lock that shit up pick. What do you got?
Well, first of all, if you didn't hear us before, yes, the Risen Star Guide will be updated for scratches and surface changes. So just please make sure to look about 30, 45, even an hour before the first post. It will be updated. All right, now it's time for the Lock That Shit Up pick of the week. And for me, I'm going to Gulfstream Park, race number 6. It's a turf sprint for 4-year-olds and upward, going 5 furlongs. I'm going to go with the number 6 Leinster. I think this is the horse that you can easily single in this spot. Leinster is a very, very classy sprinter. This horse won 2 races in a row, 2 grade 2s in a row, I should say, at Keeneland before finishing 3rd, beating a length in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. Now shows up here in the 100K ungraded stakes race at Gulfstream Park. Also, some seem to be go for Leinster. I mean, if this horse has a decent trip, he's going to win. So for me, lock that shit up pick of the week. Race 6 at Gulfstream Park, number 6, Leinster.
Yeah, this was my my second choice here. And, listen, I mean, you never know with these 5 furlong turf sprints. It's tough, if you bet. But this horse is just so much classier than the rest of them. Listen, everyone that knows me knows where I'm going with this one. It's not really hard, right, to guess where I landed with this lock that shit up pick. Let's go to Fairgrounds. Race 10, the Mine Shaft Stakes. It's a grade 3, 200K for 4-year-olds and up, going 1/16 miles. Number 4, Maxfield. He's back. He can pick some spots. This horse has never lost. It's kind of weird to say that, because it does feel like the horse has been around for so long. It's like he's never lost, because he rarely runs. But here he is. running in the mine shaft. He's 4 for 4. Listen, Flo's back. I think he's going to be awful tough. And I guess the one kind of caveat here is the way the track could or could not be playing, and you just don't know. But all systems, 4 to 5 morning line favorite. There's been talks of if he was going to go to Dubai and where he was going to go, if he's going to Saudi, and it's like, no, we're staying put. We're staying here. Seems like a much easier spot than any of those. Now, we'll say this. While Maxfield is obviously near and dear to my heart, and he's never lost, and I've been on Team Maxfield ever since the start, this race is sneaky. Enforceable is not a bad horse, and came back, ran a huge race last time out at Fairgrounds. Wells Bayou, can he rebound? He was not very good in Louisiana last time out, but he's obviously a horse that can run a big race. Blackberry Wine, Sonneman. I mean, this is not like the softest field, so to speak. I mean, Maxfield's going to have to bring it, but Maxfield for me, man. I think he's going to win.
I love Maxfield in this spot as well, but I am a little worried about the number 1 Enforceable, because Enforceable, he looked like a different horse last time out. He looked really strong in a victory at Fairgrounds, so I was a little worried about the 1, but I'm with you. I think the 4 is a strong pick.
All right, you're up next, buddy. What is your best value winner, your Making It Rain long shot pick? What do you got?
Well, last week, the Making It Rain long shot pick of the week was a winner. We got a race home there at Tampa. We're going to go to the Fairgrounds. We're going to go to a turf race. All right, they're not going to run on the turf. Well, the one race they might run on the turf, if they can only run one, it will be race 11 on the turf at Fairgrounds, going 9 furlongs. Brad Cox has 2 in here. I'm going to go with the other Brad Cox. I think number 2 Set Piece could pull off a little bit of an upset here. This horse comes into the race off of 2 straight wins. I think Brad Cox has kind of got this horse figured out. You might say, you dummy, those wins were at Turfway Park. Now he's got to go to Fairgrounds. I don't care. I kind of like this horse. I think Brad has got this horse figured out. And most importantly, the 8 Factor This, who is a phenomenal racehorse, kind of feels like he's going the opposite direction. He doesn't seem like he's losing form. And so I think Set Piece could pull off an upset. I think if they do run this race on the turf, it's going to be a soft, yielding type of turf. And I think that's going to favor Set Piece as well. So Set Piece at 10-1 by Making It Rain, long shot of the week.
This one, honestly, I was between this race and the race that I ended up with, which is race 9, the Albert M. Stahl Memorial Stakes, which this one will be interesting if they leave this one on the turf or not. But if they do leave it on the turf, this one to me feels like it has got all kinds of opportunity as well. Just like the one you mentioned, your race. I'm going to go with this race 9, and let's go to the 2, Temple City Terror. Gets Flo aboard here for Brendan Walsh. Listen, this horse has been pretty good in a few starts. Didn't start off well. Has always been on the turf, at Gulfstream Park, Churchill Downs. Comes to Fairgrounds and wins, and does it pretty nicely at 4-1. Just gets a terrible rate. Terrible trip, terrible ride, the whole 9 yards. Awful last time out. And you can tell because, hey, Temple City Terror got a new jockey, and his name is Florent Giroux. So I love the fact that you get that upgrade. And jockey, the best jockey besides Rosario, who, by the way, won on him at Churchill Downs last May, get him here. So I think at 12-1, a horse that, like, you look at the way who he's facing, and you look at the kind of, allowance races that the horses ran, and maybe who he ran against or who she ran against. It's like, she can win here. Come off the pace and run. She's got a really deadly closing kick. Tuned In, another horse that's got some closing kick in the 11, is going to be scratched out of this race for Grand Motion, not going to run. So, I think that the 2 is probably the most deadly closer in the race. So, listen, at these odds, I don't know it'll be interesting to see, again, if they're going to run it on the turf, how many horses scratch. The race could completely change in the dynamic depending on what the scratches look like. But for now, I think the 2 is gonna have a hell of a shot here. So I like the 2 Tipple City Terror for my making a rain long shot pick. All right, buddy.
All right.
What race are you most excited to watch? Also known as I am so excited I may shit myself race.
For this, I'm so excited I may shit myself race of the week. I'm going to go to the race 10 at Gulfstream Park. It is an allowance optional claimer, $75,000. Going 1 mile on the turf for 4-year-olds and upward, which have never won $10,000 3 times other than maiden claiming starter or state bred allowance. I'm not going to read the rest of the conditions. It's a freaking paragraph. All right. Why am I excited for this stupid race?
What race number is it?
I'm sorry, I said number 6, didn't I? Number 10, race number 10.
So you don't even know. All right.
So sorry. I'm excited for race number 10 at Gulfstream Park. For number 5, Structor. Really? Structor? I thought, no way Structor would ever run again. We heard all last year, Structor's going on the Derby Trail. He's going on the Derby Trail. Well, he never did. 470 days ago, we saw Structor win the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf as a 2-year-old. Now he's 4. I'm super pumped to see this horse run, Jared. I really am, to be completely honest and to be serious here. Never thought I'd see him again. Now he's here. He's against a field of horses that I will say they'll test him from the fact that you're going to have to run well to beat him. This is not a great field, but it's not awful at the same time. So I think if Structor wins this race, you go, okay, he's decent. He's back, I'm just really fascinated to watch Structor on Saturday at Gulfstream.
Yeah, what the hell do you even that long of a layoff is just insane. Yeah, obviously was, he's a multiple graded stakes winner. Breeders' Cup winner. It's never lost a race, and yet here we are 9-5 on a Saturday in an allowance race, and it's exciting because obviously he's very talented. Well, at least he was, but to be off that long kind of gives you some pause, right?
Here's my it does, but here's my theory on why I'm not overly concerned with this kind of a layoff. If they don't think that he's back, they don't think he's normal, they don't think he's going to be a good horse, why even bother? I think they brought him back because they really believe this could be a big time horse. That's the way I look at it. I look at it from a positive angle of, listen, you're off a year and a half or however long this is. There's no need to dick with him if he sucks or if he's injured. I think Chad's bringing him back because he thinks this is going to be a really productive horse this year. So, listen, and Magic just asked, does Structor remain the favorite? Absolutely. I think the horse goes off about at his morning line odds, if not lower. I'm excited for Structor. I think he's going to run a big race here.
Like you say, it's not a bad race in general. So it's definitely one that you're to watch. And yeah, so excited. I may shit myself. Perfect title for that race. All right, let's go to mine. The last race we'll talk about on Rapid Fire. Where am I going? You can see it on the screen. Can you see where I'm going on the screen? I'm going to wrong race, wrong track. We're gonna go to Fairgrounds. We're gonna go to race 12, the Rachel Alexandra Stakes, which, hey, it's a Kentucky Oaks prep race. It's a championship prep race. So 50, 20, 10, 5 for your top 4 finishers. So it's the real deal in these preps. And man, I am excited for this race because I know, I love Travel Calm, Brad Cox, Flo. It might be a big day for them, but I really like the one too. Steve Asmussen's got another who got beat by Travel Calm last time, but man, ran a really good race. And obviously being sired by Curlin, Stone Street, you got, obviously there's a lot of potential with this one. You would think would get better with time. So I think, you look at this race, and you look at those two horses, you see the numbers stack up, and they're very similar, and both horses like to kind of make a late running bid. I think this is going to be a hell of a stretch run between the 1 and the 8, and two horses that have some real potential for being quality Oaks, Kentucky Oaks winners. In the Steve Asmussen and Clary, and Travel Calm, the 8 for Brad Cox. Two obviously very good trainers. You got the connection. So I think I'm pumped about this race to see this stretch run.
Talking to my good friend Dr. Miranda, who previewed this race on the Magic and Dr. Miranda show, and she also is very pumped to see Travel Column. Listen, if you don't remember, go back and watch the Goldenrod where Travel Column won and got stopped 37 times and still won the race. I mean, this horse got beat up in that race and so on. So I'm with you. I am very, very, very pumped for Travel Column to run. And yeah, I think this can be a good one. I think this is another very good candidate for the So Excited I May Shit Myself Race of the Week.
No, I'll leave it at that. That was good.
I'll be surprised if any of this bunch makes the Derby gate. Me too, since it's a filly race.
Yep, since it's for the Oaks, I will be shocked if any of these horses.
Beyond.
Shocked.
Yep.
If any of these horses make it to there, but you never know, right? They could.
One thing we should address. Chad's Turf Army seems a little weak this year. Structure may be his best horse by years in. Yeah, we'll see on Structure. Chad's Turf Army may be a little weak this year. He's kind of said, I'm retooling my barn a little bit. You got to remember, Chad lost a lot of really good horses. I think he'll be just fine. He seems pretty excited about some horses he's got coming up. But maybe in those older races, he might not be quite as strong. So, yeah, Mark, we'll see what happens. He's got like Domestic Spending who, should be back, before long. And we'll see what happens from the older ones. But, yeah, you're right. He's retooling a bit. I don't think Chad really loves the Gulfstream Park turf. I think he kind of points for Keeneland, Belmont, Saratoga. So we'll see what happens with Chad. But I wouldn't feel too sorry for him. I do think he's got some good ones up and coming.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, right now it seems because we're always used to Chad having like that superstar one of whether it be usually it's an older filly or mare, and we just they all retired, so it's like he's kind of reloading, but don't worry, we say that now. This will be the year that he wins the Derby with like risk taking. Or maybe my horse. That'll be weird. But no, that seems like that.
I've got a theory on your horse. Your horse is highly motivated, right?
Correct.
He's going to run in the Gotham, right?
Yep.
I think he goes to the Bluegrass afterwards.
I think that's good. I think that's good.
Okay. Now, I think the Southwest is the starting point for Essential Quality, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I think he goes to the Bluegrass after the Southwest.
I can see that. Why would he not stay, though, at Oaklawn?
Okay, it's possible. But the way I look at it, he runs in the Southwest. He's got Caddo River for the Rebel, and now the Rebel's 3 weeks after the Southwest. So he's not going to run the Rebel.
Well, right? And he's already got points toward the Derby already. So
right. So the Southwest, he's in, basically.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So what would you rather do at that point? Wait and run in the Arkansas Derby, which is 3 weeks before the Kentucky Derby, or go to the Bluegrass and give yourself an extra week.
And if you run the Arkansas Derby, you're running against whether it be Concert Tour or Life is Good or something like that. So
it's somebody from Baffert, and then I think Caddo River kind of fits the Rebel Arkansas Derby, Kentucky Derby mold. I think Essential Quality is going to Keeneland and the Bluegrass, and plus he already has a win at Keeneland. So I think the Bluegrass with Essential Quality, highly motivated. I think they're both going to be there. You add in, there's going to be a few more. I'm really like the Bluegrass big circle.
That could be a huge race. Not just that, because highly motivated, a horse that obviously has some questions in terms of how far he'll want to go, and never has ran more than past a mile. He runs in a mile in the Gotham, so that there's a reason why Chad's pointing towards that race to kind of get him, not to go for longer than he needs to starting off, and so that will be a big, going a mile and eighth in the Bluegrass for his first time, and obviously if it is Essential Quality in there, that'll be huge, Yeah.
So. I think.
Listen, guys, we're at a huge this. This weekend obviously is with the Risen Stars is big, but once like the Southwest hits, and really once you get into March, I mean these, I feel like we are just so we don't know hardly anything about these horses. Even the top horses, you don't know a whole lot about right now. So,
Mark, why the Wood is not going to happen for highly motivated, risk-taking out of the same barn is going to the Wood. So I really don't. Now, again, it could happen, but I really don't think he's going to run his two best 3-year-olds against each other. So
same barn, same ownership as well.
Correct. Risk-taking for the Wood, highly motivated, is going to ship. That's my theory. And the only reason that is my theory is Chad Brown has said the Wood is where we're going to run risk-taking. So in that case, now I'm like, okay, well, highly motivated is going somewhere else. But a good question.
Highly motivated is one of those that, boy, he's interesting for sure. You know, obviously he's like you said, to your point with Essential Quality, highly motivated also has a win under the Keeneland track. So
I think highly motivated, if say highly motivated wins the Gotham, and then you've got Essential Quality, and I don't think he's going to win the Southwest, but say he does, that's a hell of a matchup right there in the Bluegrass.
Oh my gosh. I mean, highly motivated won at, going 6.5 furlongs back in November, just won going away, at Keeneland. Ran easily his best race of his career. So obviously Keenan, I think that's a pretty good, you might be onto something there, buddy.
I just, it just comes to me. Freedom Fighter to the Gotham, since it's a 1-turn mile. Steve, I think that makes sense. He doesn't, I don't know. Baffert doesn't ship to New York for the Gotham very often. I don't know what's going to happen with Freedom Fighter. I almost think Sunland Derby, maybe, with that horse. I don't know. I think he's up in the air. The Gotham would make sense for Freedom Fighter, though. Yes.
Yeah, Baffert has been known to send those kind of one-turn horses there for sure. Yeah, I mean, Sunland's a good one too, just because they can get them. You can get them longer than they can go at Sunland a lot of times. So
the speed is very good at Sunland. So if you take Freedom Fighter there, it's a 1.1 miles. You go, oh God, he can't get a 1.1 miles, but it's Sunland, speed favoring track. You're going to face a weaker field. He does kind of have that Sunland feel. I agree. Yep.
It's going to be.
God, isn't it exciting to be talking about these races?
Well, it's the fact that we're talking about these races, and they're going to be running, knock on wood, with normal times, right? Like that's exciting in itself.
Oh gosh, keep the questions coming. Do I like keeping in mind at all? Underneath all prep season, I really think seconds, thirds. I like the horse. He's very consistent. I don't know if he's top caliber. I do think he's going to be in the Kentucky Derby. I just don't think he's like a win candidate for like the Southwest. He's facing Essential Quality. I don't think he can beat him, but he can get second. He can get third. I think Jackie's Warrior is going to run big in the Southwest as well. So yeah, I like him, but I don't love him.
He's going to pick up points.
He is. Yeah, he is. Very consistent. I mean, my God, this horse is all class, right?
Yeah, it's just these horses got to eventually find a way to win, and he's like the max player of this year.
Yep. He beat Smiley Soboka in Kentucky. Okay. He is who he is. He's going to drop back, make a run. That's him.
Oh, there's some fighting words. Uh-oh.
Come on, Mark.
Mark, I get you, man. I get you. We got it.
No, you don't get shit.
Senior is like he's the poor man's keep me in mind.
You might be right. The thing I hate about Senior is that he drops so damn far back. I do hate that. But I don't think Go ahead, Jerry.
I'm just gonna say you're gonna be very nervous because obviously you took a stand on this horse and you've been very pro Senior and not if he considering his connections, considering where he's been running, if he runs poorly here, it's not like you're just gonna be automatic get him back on the Derby trail. It's almost like maybe he's not. You know what I mean? Like so, it's a big race for you.
I think he'll go to Sunland if he runs poor here.
That's true with Venture. That's good.
This is the classic horse that gets me every year, right? Like, I love the underdogs. Fuck Baffert. I hate that motherfucker. I hope all of his horses lose.
Even
So
though you won the fantasy league last year because of Baffert, but go ahead.
don't care. I always did this, and I was sick winning the fantasy league last year with Authentic. I knew that it's not a clean win, but
Nope.
but it's still a win regardless. And I bought 3 pair of shoes with that $500. So thanks everybody. But with Senior Biscore, he is totally my like crush horse, and you know this. She like connections that are really good, but really good for like my terms, like winning $10,000 claimers at Sunland that I handicap all the time. That's great. Love the breeding, love the owners, love Louis Q. You know, everybody's like, who the fuck's Louis Q? Well, he's talk to him. I love Louis Q because I talked to Louis Q personally before he won the Oakland handicap on alternation, and I've always loved him ever since that.
Yeah, I remember that very well.
But he's a sucker horse for me, so we'll see what happens. I am very nervous. Yeah,
it's a big one.
Yeah.
Jared says, "What do y'all think of Suge's horse?" I'm pumped. He already has a horse on the trail. That's
great. Yeah, Jared, I am too. I love Suge. I love Suge to death, and I'm glad he's got a horse, and I think he's got a horse that'll make the Derby, right, Jared?
It's like you said after he won. It's like it's always better when Suge's on the Derby trail, and it's true. I mean, when he's got a good horse on the trail, it's always fun.
Yeah.
He'll be in the Derby. My fear is this horse peaked a little too soon. Like we'll see. I don't know. He's probably the best performance so far this year, though. No doubt.
I have faith. No, Cattle River is, but I have faith in Suge getting this horse right at the perfect time. Like, I think he'll run his best race first Saturday in May. Now, after that, I'm not really sure, but I think Suge will have him ready.
He is good. He can do that.
Look at this. Why? What are you talking about? I don't think he's decent. He's like one of my favorite trainers of all time.
Halterman thinks Cattle River is like the next Justify or something.
Here's what happened. No, I don't think Suge is decent. I call Greatest Honor decent. I still think he's decent. Right now, he's still decent. I didn't say Suge was. Greatest Honor, he's decent. Cattle River is going to really surprise some people in the Rebel. Hold on. How do I talk about that? No. The camera's got me all screwed up. How do I talk about that guy? Yeah. He's going to surprise you in the Rebel.
Okay. No, I mean,
sorry, Steve. I misread that. Suge's horse is decent. Yes, I think he's decent. I thought you said Suge. I was about to hit you.
Like, wouldn't it be like not surprising to see him lose next out and then gets him like completely fired up for the Derby? Like that wouldn't be surprising. That's a total Suge move. All right, let's close this thing up and let's keep the questions coming. I think this is a good segment to close out the end of the show. We'll start asking some Derby questions. All right.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. That's all the time we have. Check us out at racenews.com for our free picks and our premium selections on our handicap products page. Click the products link in the main menu at racenews.com to learn more. Remember to check out the inside track to the 2021 Risen Star Wager Guide, now available on the products page. We just talked about the Risen Star. We, of course, talked a few undercard races as well. You'll want to get the wagering guide on our products page at racenews.com because we will have up-to-date, up to the second updates of this whenever scratches come out and how we're going to change our betting styles and based on the track conditions or whatever. So go to racenews.com on the products page and check out that inside track to the Risen Star. Go check that out. Racenews.com, we're our destination. We are your destination site for all horse racing picks to all the major horse racing tracks in America. We're on Twitter at Racehorse Dudes, Instagram and Facebook. Listen to us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, the website at racenews.com. We talked a little bit about Gulfstream Park. Go check out the Magic Mike show on all those same platforms. They did the Saturday's late pick 4 sequence, I believe, at Gulfstream Park. So it'll be interesting to see what Magic and Samich's takes are on that late pick 4 sequence at Gulfstream Park. We got a lot of interaction right now going on our live feed. Of course, if you are listening to this after the fact, we do these podcasts, these live streams live on Thursday nights on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. So if you haven't subscribed, you need to subscribe to any of those social platforms and you can kind of interact with us. So we have questions coming in right now. A lot of it about the Derby Trail. We've answered some of them off air, about someone asked about Greatest Honor for Shug McGahee. Obviously, Halterman, you and I both really like that horse. You think he'll have him right for the Kentucky Derby. You're a big kind of River fan for Brad Cox. It seems like a lot of people are like you and I are basically with Senior Buscador. You either love him or you think he's kind of a fake.
Well, I want to address Dave Barista's comment about the Lasix. He didn't use Lasix in the Remington Park Springboard Mile, but now he has to, or he did use Lasix. I'm sorry, and now he has to go without. Yes. Long story short, David, yes, I am a little concerned. First time without Lasix is going to be in this big race, and obviously it is a concern. I did read an article with Finchner, and he did say, look, I don't think it's going to be an issue, but you never really know, and I just didn't think second time out, first time going 2 turns was the best time to take him off the medication. So I agree with that. I agree with that logic. I do agree with your comment. It is a little bit scary that this is the first time without Lasix. So, that is a worry, David. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, it is a worry. Anything else?
Bring on the question. Let's look at something real fast.
Okay.
I think let's do it. We're live on. Let's see.
Mark, I will totally give Ricky crap tomorrow for sure. 100%.
You should.
I will. Don't worry. Miranda beat Ricky this morning. Of course she did. Miranda is a very smart young lady, and Ricky's an idiot. So, no, Ricky hit the pick 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 12 at Oaklawn today. Ricky did well. Go ahead, Jared.
So let's look at right now. You got your top 10 racestudios.com on the Kentucky Derby page for your top 10 Kentucky Derby contenders. One that sticks out to me, a horse that was, you have Roman Centurion, you're number 12 ranked overall. And This is a horse that was just claimed out of the fantasy league and had zero, there was no shake. No one claimed this horse other than Ryan and John.
He feels like a horse that's going to hit the board, but shouldn't he have won that race if he was that good?
Yeah, and that's why I didn't claim him. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, me neither. I ranked him 12 because I just think, he's going to hit the board in those SoCal races and he's going to get in. And listen, he finished 12th in the Kentucky Derby. That's really nothing to really talk about, right? But I do think he has the potential to get in. So I'm with you on that.
So let's look at some of you put Candyman Rocket after his win last week in the CMF Davis at 15, which I think is fair. The great one at 14, I feel like is a horse for you that you really are high on. That could definitely move up. He's got Doug O'Neill, the other Doug O'Neill, Hot Rod Charlie at 13, a horse that's going to the Louisiana Derby next, which is a very interesting move. Midnight Bourbon, who runs this weekend. Prevalence, obviously of the big times. Proxy runs Rombier. Rombier. How do you say it? Rombauer. Yeah. You've got that horse at 19, so that's interesting. But Freedom Fire, who just finished second at San Vicente, at 20. So out of the top 20, is there any horses that you're super pumped about that you feel like could definitely be a top 5 horse? That's not top 5, obviously, right now.
I thought the Candyman Rocket, given the fact that it was first race against winners, first race going long, I thought that horse ran pretty well. I know a lot of people are he didn't really finish that well. I think I look at Mott the same way I look at Shug. He uses these as preps to get the horse better and better and better. We're stepping up the ladder, And so I think Candyman Rocket is a horse that could improve and get better with each start. So I kind of like him. I don't know if he's a win contender, but he also has tactical speed. I like that about him too. He's kind of the one at 15. I'm he could get better. I almost claimed him. I think he has a ceiling, though. I don't think he's elite, but I think he's decent. And I like that Bill Mott's on his side. I think Bill Mott fits this horse pretty well.
Yeah, he ran pretty well. I mean, all things considered, and he seems like one of those that's kind of peaking at the right time for Bill Mott. And he's obviously going to be very careful with him as far as where he places them and kind of very diligent. What do you think of the San Vicente, the top two finishers there, Concert Tour and Freedom Fire, of course, 11 and 20 respectively. Obviously, the San Vicente for Bob Baffert is a very much of a launching point for official Derby prep. So, what, like, obviously Concert Tour is going to go to like the Rebel or something off of that. But what do you do with Freedom Fighter?
Yeah, I don't know if Freedom Fighter wants to go like super long. So that's my worry there. Concert Tour, I put him at 11. I probably could put him a little higher. I think he's good, and I think he will get better going long. That was my takeaway. But Freedom Fighter ran his balls off in the San Vicente. I thought that was a freaking fantastic race from that horse. And again, I don't know how long he wants to run. I think he's a pretty good horse. But Concert Tour is who I like best coming out of the San Vicente, and we'll just see.
Here's a good question that's come up, I think, from Mark. It's kind of long, but basically it's like the question is, when he handicaps on a Wednesday for weekend races because there's no morning line odds out, why do we need morning line odds? The Sam F. Davis was a joke last week, total joke. Can we get rid of the grade 1 status for 2-year-olds? That was the question too. That young, you don't know what they're beating, increased stud value, blah, blah. So answer number 1. So the morning line odds, and you're right. The Sam F. Davis, I talked about it earlier in the beginning of the show, the tournament, that the Sam F. Davis was part of that tournament, and it was a joke because you're handicapping this race early in the morning, and even though the odds, you're like, this isn't going to be, no agenda's not going to be that, and Candyman Rocket's not going to be 10-1, and so you're like trying to take stabs at horses, obviously in tournament situations where you're wanting value, but you can't play Candyman Rocket because he was bet down massively. So, yeah, I agree. Like, morning line odds, Haltern, how do you use morning line odds when handicapping, if at all?
I don't at all as far as handicapping, but I do think we need morning line odds. And I think most of the bigger tracks have a good morning line maker. They commit one person to make the morning line, and they do a pretty good job. Tampa Bay is not one of those. Oaklawn Park is not one of those. So there's 2 places where you can take the morning line odds and you throw them out the window. Fairgrounds, I don't think is very good either.
Right.
But Santa Anita, obviously with John White, I think Gulfstream usually is pretty good. I think Naira has pretty good morning line odds maker. They're always going to make mistakes. But as far as handicapping goes, I don't care about the morning lines whatsoever. Not one little bit.
To your point, I think it's very important to know who's making the morning lines, like how those are done. So you got to know the track in particular. But let me ask you, because how do it seems like more times than not, they run well. When, say, it happens all, you and I, and, we played during the week at Gulfstream or whatever, and it's like, happens all the time when it happens today. Horse is 10-1, morning line, and instantly you see the first click and it's down to 3-1 or pounded, and it stays there and it goes off and it usually wins or it runs well because people know something. So in that instance, don't you think morning line odds can be very crucial to helping you kind of come up with a winner?
No, because I just don't look at them. I just don't look at the morning lines when I handicap. And I think in that situation, what you're saying though is, you handicap a race if you're a newbie, or maybe not even a newbie, but you've only been in it for a limited amount of time. You handicap the race, you look at it, because I've done this, and I think you probably maybe have too. You handicap a race, you look at it, and you go, well, I really like the 2, in this case, Gulfstream today, but it's 10-1 morning line, so I go somewhere else. That's what you have to fight against, right? Mm-hmm. Don't worry about, okay, I've handicapped all the race, now I look at the morning line, oh no, 10-1, no chance. Don't ever do that. Handicap what you believe, and then forget about the morning line. Don't worry about that.
No, I completely. Right. Sorry. You don't. I completely with you. You don't handicap. I never handicap a race based off of what I see off the morning line. That makes no difference to me. Now, to my point earlier about playing, like when you're playing in a tournament, for instance, or or even if you're playing your pick 4s and stuff, to try to. Like the Sam F. Davis, you keep going back to that. That was one of the all timers as far as bad morning lines, and you have to forget the morning line. But when it comes to picking a tournament pit horse, you have to know, like, well, he's 10-1 morning line. Even if because Candyman Rocket was my top pick in the tournament, but it was like, I know he's going to be bet down because that's a stupid morning line. So you end up trying to find the value somewhere else. And that makes it more challenging because when the morning line's that messed up, it does kind of mess with you because it's hard to kind of get to, just like the recent start this weekend. The morning line odds are going to be all over, or the odds are going to be all over the place versus the morning line odds based off of their scratches. Obviously, keep me in mind being gone, the weather, some of those things are out of their control, but still the morning line odds are going to be all over the place.
I will say the morning line is very frustrating to me because I can look at a morning line. And again, don't get me wrong when I say this, it's a very hard job. Very, very hard job. It's a thankless job. Anytime you get anything wrong, you're going to get your ass, blasted on Twitter. And it's like, oh, what an idiot. It's very tough. But when you look at that morning line for the Sam F. Davis and you go, Known Agenda is the freaking morning line favorite. Like, that's just crazy. Candyman Rocket at 10-1. That's just insane. When you look at the Smarty Jones stakes at Oakland a few weeks back, and you go, Caddo River is 5-2 and Cowan is 9-5. Like, Caddo River went off at like 2-5. It's like, this is like, any idiot can see that. So I do get frustrated when tracks employ people to make the morning line who have no fucking clue what they're doing. And it's obviously what happened with Tampa and Oakland. I mean, Oakland is notoriously the worst in the country. I have no idea why a track the size of Tampa is not that big of a track. So Tampa, I get it. But Oakland, how can you not have somebody that can make a better morning line? I don't really know. But it's frustrating, but at the same time, I don't handicap with them. I don't expect to get the odds that are listed on that morning line. Hardly ever, other than maybe Santa Anita and Naira. I really think they're the two best.
The thing about the morning lines that a lot of people don't grasp or understand from the public standpoint is that they're supposed to be what, like John, like John White, who does the morning line for, when the Breeders' Cup's Santa Anita or does it at Santa Anita, he takes it. I mean, he takes every race he does super seriously. And then you go back and look at the race and see, okay, how was it bet? What did I miss? What did I do differently? And it's all about how you perceive the public is going to bet the horse, not what like Smiley or the horse, Known Agenda. It's like, you got to think that horse is not going to be 6-1. How are they going to view that horse and bet that horse? And what was it? The Romans horse, was that Smiley that was in that race? It's like, because he had the back class. It's like, well,
they're not betting him.
They're not. It's how you think the public's going to bet. Candyman Rocket obviously had, there's a lot to like about that horse. That horse can be bet. So when you're making a morning line, you have the whole point is to try to guess and try to predict how you think the public's going to bet the horse. So there's not that variance.
I'm the morning line maker at Tampa. Okay. This horse, Candyman Rocket, won by 9 lengths at Gulfstream in a maiden special weight. How is he going to be 10-1 at Tampa? He's not. Known Agenda, I made 6-1 on the morning line, who beat Greatest Honor, who just won the Fountain of Youth 1 week earlier. How is that horse going to be 6-1 on the morning line? He's not. It's logic. It's just following the sport. That's why, to your point, I know John White makes the morning line at Santa Anita. I know John White follows horse racing. I have confidence in his morning lines. I don't know personally the guy that makes the morning lines at Naira, but I see him on Twitter all the time. He's following horse racing. He knows what's going on. Like I said, I don't know him personally, but I have confidence that he's following the sport and he knows. So I take those 2 morning lines, and I'm like, okay, these are probably pretty close to how it's going to go off. Do they make mistakes? Yes. Do they make the mistakes as often as the people at Oakland and Tampa and even Gulfstream to some extent? No, they sure don't. They're much more accurate.
I can't believe you're talking this negatively about Willie, the bathroom attendant at
Oakland.
I
love Willie, the bathroom attendant. I've got him on my phone. He texts me now. He's like, come on, man. But listen, Willie, the bathroom attendant at Oakland, making those morning lines. I think he does a good job because, again, I've said on the show a lot, Willie has a lot of jobs at Oakland. Bathroom attendant. He hands out the candy after you're done. He gives you the paper towel to wash or to dry off your hands.
A lot of responsibility for Willie.
A lot of responsibility. He's a friendly fucking guy too, but he doesn't do well on the morning lines.
Yeah, they might want to, maybe Vic should do it or something, like.
Can I address the grade 1s for 2-year-olds?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, we should talk about that.
I disagree. And I know Magic's like, yeah, take them out too. You have to look at it like this, Mark and Magic. It's a grade 1 for a 2-year-old. So it's just it's 2-year-old racing. They're grade 1s for that specific time period, for that specific class. So no, I don't want to take away all grade 1s for 2-year-olds. You just have to put them for what they are. It's a grade 1 for 2-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
The hopeful should be a grade 1. Here's what makes a grade 1. Every 2-year-old horse in the country wants to win the hopeful. Every 2-year-old horse in the country wants to go out and win the Del Mar Futurity. So when every horse that's running in that crop wants to win that race, that makes it a grade 1, in my opinion.
No, I agree. And there's been plenty of great horses that have come and won those races, American Pharoah, right? So, there's horses that, that because they win those races, I feel like they justify the fact that they are a grade 1.
If you have a 3-year-old and they're pointing towards Saratoga, or they're based in the Midwest or the East, and you got them and they're training, and you're like, okay, I think we're going to get them a start in May or June. In the back of your mind, you've got the hopeful in mind for that horse, right? And if you're on the West Coast, same difference. And you got a horse and they're starting in May and June. In the back of your mind, the Del Mar Futurity is a race we're targeting. That's why I think a grade 1 for 2-year-olds still means something. No,
I mean, I'm with you. I've never, be honest with you, I've never once considered getting rid of grade 1s when it comes to 2-year-olds, because even though, to a lot of horses that they may not run as 3, you never know. So I feel like to have that opportunity to run in a grade 1 is important. And and from a handicapping standpoint, you have to, like you said, you have to look at it the same way. Like, okay, yes, they won a grade 1, but I can't let that dictate that I'm picking them as a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
Only because they're a graded stakes winner. Well, lots can change between 2 and 3. So
you take it for what it is. They won a grade 1 at age 2. Now we're age 3.
You win the Eclipse Award at age 2 doesn't mean you're going to win it at age 3. It's the same difference. So,
but with it, like Essential Quality is a perfect example. He won the grade 1 Breeders' Futurity. He won the grade 1 Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Those are 2 races that all 2-year-olds want to win, right? But now we're at age 3. And does he progress? That doesn't mean that his 2-year-old grade 1 wins are worthless and he's a stupid horse if he doesn't win at 3. But can he progress? It's the same thing. It's like a 16-year-old kid being great in high school. Can he now be great in college?
Mark says, but to go from a maiden special weight to a grade 1 in one race at 2, I get it, but you're beating a lot of maiden winners. So what do you think about that? That is a interesting way to look at it. Basically saying you win a maiden special weight, then you go win a grade 1, and that you can't really do that as a 3-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a terrible point. It's not, but at the same time, in that situation, how else are you going to do it? Like Lucas said it best. He said, when you break your maiden as a 2-year-old, there's no reason to go to allowance in your next race, because you're facing horses that have never beaten anybody but maidens in an allowance, or you're facing horses that have never beaten anybody in a grade 1 stakes. It's the same kind of thing. So that kind of boasts Mark's point a little bit. To my point, though, it's still the hopeful is still a race where you most likely are going to see the best horses that are available in that crop right now. Same way with the Del Mar Futurity, same way with American Pharoah at Santa Anita, same way with Breeders' Futurity at Keeneland. I still think you're facing the best of the best, even though they're only maiden winners. If they had more time, maybe they would have won a maiden grade 3 to a grade 1. But instead, they have to jump right to that. Not have to, but they can, because they're not facing other horses with experience.
All right, I'm gonna put a wrap on this, because I think we can talk about this. We're over an hour and a half now. So, yeah. Thank you everybody for tuning in to Blinkers Off Live. Of course, we do this every week, and you go check out the Magic Mike show as well. And Halterman and Ricky, and occasionally I'm on there, or Magic, or Samich, or Miranda, whoever.
You should come on tomorrow.
I might. If I get invited, you never know. I don't know.
Ricky's been talking a lot of shit about the Chiefs the last 2 days. Just saying.
There's a reason why I haven't listened. So, because I know that idiot would say something stupid that makes no sense whatsoever. But okay. Listen, thank you everybody for tuning in. Again, if you're playing this weekend, make sure you keep an eye on our site, keep an eye on the weather, what's going to be happening at fairgrounds, and how we're going to kind of adjust our handicapping based off of the weather they may or may not get. Remember, go check out racenews.com for our wagering guide with all our inside information on the fairgrounds card as well. All right. Good luck, everybody. I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. Good luck this weekend.